Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
This is Ed Cohen, your host on Global TV Talk Show. This is a unit of globalbusinessnews.net, which has been around since '03. Google Analytics has been measuring, of course, they measure everything, and if we can believe all that, they say 1.2 million reader page views, audience page views. Since 2003 on our site. But more importantly and more relevant, since our live conference business crashed as a result of the pandemic in on or about March 1, 2020, we've needed to rethink and reinvent bringing people together. And so we launched this global TV network. We call it a talk show. It's not a webinar. And it's always free registration for anyone to watch it anytime. Okay, so today's special guest is Nina Taylor from the Houston area, and her company is called the Sweet Faith. Sweet Faith, is that correct?
That is correct.
Tell us about yourself, but first tell us about that name. That's so interesting.
Yes, so it comes from my background, which is in, of course, temporary housing. I've been in it for 20 plus years. And I actually got the name because I leaped out on faith and I decided to, of course, start the company, not knowing much about entrepreneurship or business on the other side of corporate America, but sweet, because most people recognize sweet as, of course, something more open, something of more space. And it's more of, quality standards, but also it's a stay of short terms. So I thought sweet and faith. So that's where the Sweet Faith came about.
So I'm an entrepreneur also, and prayer and faith is really important because, you get the head demons in the middle of the night saying that you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. And go away. Get out of here.
Exactly.
So,
I had fear for it for many, 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 many years. Yeah, it was one of those things where I was coming up on 40 and I just told myself, and I just had a conversation with myself and God. I was like, by the time I turn 40, I'm going to start my own business. It just makes sense. I know what I'm doing. I know how to take care of my clients, and it's the right move. I was still freaked out, but I still did it. I literally walked in faith.
So faith is good, but you got to get paid. And so because promises to pay bills and all that starts piling up. And so you gotta find someone to give you some money somehow.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter how much it is. Let's find a lot of people doing that. Now, so anyway, let's talk about yourself. Now, what did you do before starting your business?
So I was in corporate housing. Well, I started out actually my career in property management after I graduated. So at 20, I went into property management. I did that. And an old colleague of mine was going over to Oakwood, and she was like, I'm going to do corporate housing. And I was like, what is that? And the way she explained it, it was so exciting. I was like, it's the best of both worlds. And I literally cold called an an Oakwood office in Dallas where I was still living. And he was just like, actually, we do need someone. We needed a coordinator. And that's how my career kind of started in corporate housing. And I just kind of worked my way up. I was only in Dallas for 6 months because I had already planned on moving to New York. So I kept reaching out to the New York office as soon as they had an opening. And so I ended up transferring to New York and then worked for Oakwood for a few years. I did some development, of course, for Glenwood Management, which is the top real estate developer in residential real estate in New York. I helped with a few of his buildings do lease ups. And then I just got the niche to get back into corporate housing. And of course, Craig Pardon, my old boss at Furnished Quarters, love him to death. He just took me upon my wing and took me upon his wing and really helped me grow my career in New York. And it was extremely successful. So definitely much credit to him, but also just allowing me to kind of be an entrepreneur within a corporate scene, because I was able to actually work on projects in a different way that I don't think I would have been able had he not been my boss and allowed me to actually work on those clients in a real particular way in order to make them feel very personalized. So it became a lot of loyalty and partnerships. And yeah, it's been almost 21 years now. So very happy.
So it's almost like not working, but it's, of course, it's a job.
Exactly. Like I remember waking up, my clients in London, they would be sending me emails at 4:35 a.m. and I'd be responding. I'm like, I'm already at the gym. I got the phone in hand while I'm on the treadmill. And I've always loved doing business in this industry. This is an industry I've always loved.
So what in the early days, when Craig or somebody said, we need a coordinator, what does that mean? What's a coordinator?
So basically they assist the sales team. So that's how I started out my career, because especially in New York, I knew nothing about New York when I moved. And he was just like, I need you at an assistant level. Like you can't be running around and, having clients go crazy and we losing deals because you don't even know the city. So I was like, okay, fair enough. And so he took a chance on me. And that was when I was still with Stan Schilla at Oakwood. But with Craig, because I had worked with Glenwood Management and I'd also worked with Oakwood already, he was just like, which are your top clients you think you can actually like bring into the market right now? And top number one was real estate. I was just like, I already know some of the top real estate developers in New York. I can already give them a call, and it actually worked. So what we started out doing was each month I would bribe them and say, during your sales monthly meetings, I'll pay for your lunch or your breakfast. Just give me 5 minutes during your meeting and just let me do my pitch. And it worked successfully. I ended up gaining multiple $1 million accounts just by doing those pitches each month.
Isn't that nice? And what kind of meetings were those?
So it's the basic sales meetings that all brokerage offices do. So once a month, they get the whole team together and they talk about projections, highs, lows, successes, who's got what, who's doing what. So really some of your top executives, C-suites, they all come in and kind of get to know what's going on with the team. So it's a perfect opportunity to meet everyone, because after the meeting, I'll stay around, kind of see what they got on their plate, have those one-on-one conversations. And they might not need something right now, but most of the time, I'm coming back with lots of leads after those deals. So yeah, it was always a great 5-minute pitch that works very successful, especially with Douglas Elliman. And
you can't do that on Zoom.
No. Well, because you don't get a sense of that personal contact, that face-to-face, which is why I'm very excited I get to get back on the road and get to my beloved New York, because it does allow you to have some type of loyalty with someone because you get to know them. And that I'm not just a car salesman. Yes, I want the deal. I need the money, of course. But at the end of the day, you want to like the people that you work with. And I think that that's what you get when you get to talk to someone one-on-one. So that I think what made all the difference. I just wasn't interested in sending an email. I didn't want a phone call. No, I wanted to get into a room of 50 to 125 people and actually have one-on-one conversations that they wanted to pitch to them something really obvious, real simple, nothing too boring, but it actually becomes an extension to the services that they provided. So that's what I wanted to pitch to them. You're my client, not your client. That was important.
Boy, that's cool.
My name is Nina Taylor, and I am the founder and CEO of The Sweet Fate. I specialize in hospitality services for clients needing temporary housing and consult real estate companies entering into the short-term housing market. After 20 years in property management and corporate housing, I decided to finally take the leap of faith and bet on me. My skills and the quality boutique-style services that I offer allows clients to feel like they are always a top priority. I'm extremely passionate and obsessed about what I do. My clients range from entrepreneurs, small business startups, faith-based organizations, and minority executives. My services range from securing short-term housing, assisting with furnished housing projects, and hospitality programs depending on the brand the client is creating. I make sure whatever the housing need is, that it's met by me or my network of industry leaders, so every client is treated the way I want to be treated. It's a simple concept that is not always met, so I take pride in the business relationships that I am building.
So we've learned about how you got into the business and about how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And then was it difficult because you're a minority?
It can be. I mean, it's not just being Black. It could be also a woman. You climb that corporate ladder and there's tension, you don't, you look at other people and they're just like, I don't want you stealing my role. I'm not interested in, teaching you certain things. So yeah, I don't think it's just in this industry, but there are several industries where I think women do face that. And it wasn't until I actually did get to furnished quarters where I stopped facing that. Because I remember Selena Rogers, she took me upon her wings also while Craig was my boss, and she did kind of mentor me and was like, I see your potential. I really want you to grow these accounts. I'm going to help you. And she really did. And that was the first time I saw another minority female in my industry who was actually willing and open to help. So I was just like, whatever I do, when I get to the point where I can, I'm going to pay it forward. So that's really important to me. So it wasn't about me looking at the deficit of these things of being a minority, but the fact that I need to find that space where people who do look like me want to get in this industry will want to actually be in this industry because there's people like me and others who actually want to mentor them and help push them to another level without being competition. Because it's not really about competition. I always tell people can steal your ideas or whatnot, but at the end of the day, they can't be you. So you have to find your niche, you have to find you, and then be that best you and show up with that every single day. I always say as an entrepreneur, I employ myself every single day. So it's my responsibility to do the work.
Thank you very much. So are there groups that other Black or minority or women people should join in order to get on an escalator?
Yeah, definitely the National Minority Supplier Development Council. That has helped out tremendously. It'll help you also with mentorship, which also a good organization is SCORE. They can pair you with someone who's definitely helpful. I will definitely say I have a range of mentors, men, women, mid-age, baby boomers, and all different races. I hearing them and getting the knowledge from them and then figuring out what works for you, because it might have worked for them, but it not necessarily will go for you. So always remember that the information is there. So I would definitely say the council, there's 100 Black women. There's also through, I would say, the National Minority Supplier Development Council, you can actually go through them to find other channels of different organizations that you can connect with based on the industry that you're getting into or that you are you wanting to open your company into. So there's always ways to network. There's always someone out there. You just have to really reach out to them. And I think the pandemic has shown me how important it is to reach out. I mean, I was talking to CFOs and CEOs of like Blue Ground and Sonder and all these other people that I never thought I would just take a meeting. But they were like, I literally went on LinkedIn and was like, hey, I have some options. I want to talk to you about this group that's actually coming in an area that I know you need help in. Can we do a 10-minute chat? And they'd be like, here's the link. Let's talk. These are certain simple things. Is all you have to do is take the action because the information is out there. So I would say putting yourself out there to connect with certain people that you don't even know, seeing how you can also be a tool for them, because you don't want to just reach out to people for help and then not have anything in return. You need to make sure that you also are giving back. So it's a two-way street.
So how do you give back?
Always through mentorship, which is extremely important. Organizations that are charitable, like right now, I think there's a live going on LinkedIn. Jamie is doing a fundraiser for women in Uganda that has, poured out to our industry to help to support and fundraise. I think getting involved in the networking groups, that is always a way to support, because everything doesn't have to be about money. I will always say, yes, I definitely need the money. It's not that I don't need it. But when you're doing the work and you're serving, the money will always come. So as long as you actually are in it for everything that you're supposed to be in it for the right reasons, it's going to come back to you. So always push yourself to want to serve. And that's the big part about me as a person and my company. I want to do the work to serve. That makes me the most happiest, not about the check at the end of the day, but the service that I actually provided for someone that I didn't even know.
Nice. That's very nice.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a timely announcement.
Hi, I'm Sergey Gorbatov.
I'm Angela Lane.
Together we're researchers, writers and practitioners in the field of human resources.
And we've also been multi-country, multi-assignment career expats.
We owe our professional development and growth to a very large extent to the international assignment opportunities that we have had.
But in a world where distributed work may become the norm, we also want to understand what happened to the nature, duration, and purpose of international assignments.
Together with our colleague, Julian Dalzell from the University of South Carolina, we're undertaking a study on the future of expatriation.
And we'd value your contribution. You can participate in this important study by completing a simple 10-minute questionnaire.
Access the questionnaire by typing in your browser tinyurl.com/expert study. That's tinyurl.com/expert study. You can also find the link here on Ed's website next to this video.
Thank you for joining us in this study. In return for your contribution, we'll provide you with a copy of our research.
And of course, you'll be invited to an exclusive webinar hosted by Ed, where we will share our findings right here on Global Business News.
And so please go to tinyurl.com/expat study. Take the survey so that we can better understand the future of expatriation.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
So we've talked about being a minority female. We've talked about how you got into your business. We talked about some early steps. Okay. Now what's next? Not the early steps, you've already done that. But there's always a need to do new early steps in new situations.
Yeah.
So now what do you do? How can you take from a perspective point of view, everything that you've been doing, and like you just mentioned earlier, you're looking forward to getting back into New York and doing things in that marketplace, which is wide open again.
Yep.
And it's great for everybody. A lot of energy there.
Oh yeah, always. I would definitely say next for me is still scaling the company. So because I am essentially for the past, because next month will be 3 years for me, it's really been a one-woman show. I do consult workout, but there is going to be some more partnerships that I'm really excited about getting involved into, some more projects. So working actually right before the pandemic, I actually had real estate developers and investors reaching out to me for actually developing their short-term housing programs for them. So that became really exciting because that was not in my peripheral at all with my company. I was working with faith-based organizations. I was working with executives of minority-owned businesses. All of my New York stuff was going great. So I mean, it came left field, but it was really one of the best things that actually did happen because now I get to train, develop, brand, organize, put together, manage, and construct a full short-term housing program under the brand of a real estate developer. And it's a completely different project in their portfolio that grows them anywhere from 100 to 250% of revenue. So that I'm really, really proud of.
So this is really exciting. So are you white labeling that? In other words, it's not your name, it's theirs.
Yes. So one of the programs specifically that I always love to talk about because it actually was a huge success during the pandemic, and that was Layers. It's backed by HLC Equity, a real estate development firm. They have some of their team in Israel, and then they're headquartered in Pittsburgh, but our team is all over the place. And when he came to me with the idea of doing the project in Dallas, I wanted to take a look at the portfolio, and I immediately saw 2 buildings that I was just like, yep, I can take those, I can build. They were also very close to hospitals. So I was just like, this is a win-win. Literally, we started the program at the beginning of the pandemic, which is the beginning of 2020. And by May, we actually completely launched it out. Someone finally moved in and it went really well. 6 months later, it was 100% occupied. And so the goal is to take a percentage of that building, just like most developers in New York do, anywhere from 10 to 20% of the building. And you furnish it, service it. And the great thing about Layers is they own the apartments. So these people get to have access to the actual leasing office and the management staff. And they get to link up with the people actually online and get to be a part of this community and this property. So being able to do that so quickly, so fast during a pandemic was amazing. And now we're extending into other locations, and so it's continuing to grow. So that's one thing I was not expecting to do within my company, but so excited that I get to do. That's fun.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And so there's developers all over, owners and developers all over the country,
All over the world.
all over the
Yeah.
world.
And they
Right.
just need someone to manage it. So I know that that will be more of my portfolio, managing and, putting more short-term housing inventory together, where not that I can stay on the project long-term, but put it together, train, develop it so that it can actually kind of take on its own, and then it develops itself. So I want to continue to do that, and then other projects that I have coming up. So stay tuned.
Yeah, so I do want to talk to you about your targeting and what's next, but we're hearing about all that. And so you want this program to be distributed to the corporate housing industry?
I think corporate housing, also real estate developers and investors. Because right now, living in the Houston, Texas area, I am seeing a lot of young developers and real estate investors getting into markets and trying to grow them in spaces that they want to, keep so that they can thrive. So working also with them to really help and let them know how important it is to have short-term housing within that portfolio of real estate. I think that that's a brand that's not going to go away, especially after COVID. It's really vital if you really want a huge return on investment, you put short-term housing into your inventory. I mean, it's not just, an Airbnb property or, VRBO. It's really about honing in on the service of the client and that area that you're looking for, and making sure that that meshes well together. And it's a gold mine. It will thrive.
So an owner, a developer, an owner, who they probably sell the apartments as condos, or they lease them out as rentals, short-term, long-term. They do that anyway, but nothing to do with corporate housing management and service. And what you're doing, just to summarize, if I may, is to say, no, this is what you have to do. These are the services. This is the attention that needs to be made. This is what needs to be clean and safe and certified. And
Everything. It's kind of
right.
like the thing I love to do. I like to kind of tell people what to do in a very nice, polite way.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so now I think that what you're doing is a model for anyone, but particularly women, young women, who are don't really want to be in a corporate environment, layers and structures and politics, but they want to perform.
Agreed.
And, right.
It's the best of both worlds. You actually, because I think with property management, you do the deal, it's 1 year, they move in, that's really it. With corporate housing and, short-term, services, it allows you to have a relationship with them. Like when I'm going out to lunch and dinner with these people, I know their spouses, I know their kids, I know their lifestyle, I know what they, really enjoy. There's that personal part of it. I mean, there are still certain clients that I have that I'm probably going to have for the rest of my life, just because on a personal level, we like each other. I think that's really important. So at the end of the day, we, stop doing business. We still just end up being friends. I think because you're providing a home. And that's the great thing about this. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm actually putting a roof over someone's head. Some of them are extremely luxury, and that's great too. But it makes you feel good about really what you do every single day. I love that interaction of people, of communicating, of being a support. And that goes into, my prime thought process of serving and making sure that I do that every single day.
So I don't mean to embarrass you at all, but this is a time for talking about yourself so that people can understand more. And I see that you have an award that's on your mantelpiece there. Tell us about why you think you got that award, and what it took for you personally to earn that?
It took a lot of effort and action to earn that. I'm one of those people who I'm not annoying, but I will stay top of mind. So I make sure you don't forget me. And that is what I've always strived to do for clients. And so this particular client, they were with me for 12 years before I left New York. And actually, I still help them sometimes in my business. So it was really kind of one-offs here and there. And then it just kind of grew to where I got it, the whole program after, a couple of years. And again, it's like I said, my statement before, we stayed friends. And it was also referrals. And anytime they sent me someone, if I couldn't help them, and that's the one thing I'm very proud of. If I can't help you, I'm going to send you to someone that will take care of you. So it's not just about signing a contract and guaranteeing certain things. It's about really the end result of how you can handle that experience. And I don't just want to give you a place to lay your head. I want you to enjoy where you are and have that moment. And, when you're in New York or London or, going to the West Coast and, by the beach, and you get to excite someone with where they put that key in the door. That is a joy for me. So I like to keep that always in the scope of mind of what I do on my work. And so when they found out I was leaving New York, and they decided to, of course, award me with a Service of Dedication Award, and very grateful and very honored that they would do something like that during their award assembly. I was not expecting it at all. So yeah, it was a nice surprise, and very, very happy that I was able to actually do it.
The name of your company is?
The Sweet Faith.
Isn't that great? Nina Taylor, thank you for being our guest today on Global TV Talk Show. It's an honor for me to have you and to help spread the news about your energy and your helpfulness. And I wish you well, and I welcome you to come back on Global TV and give us an update.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. This is Ed in LA Metro, and that's Nina in Houston. And we'll see you on the trail. Ciao.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.